I'm Snyman, the Speaker of Council. Will you be able to vote in the upcoming elections? Make sure that you're registered and get ready for the upcoming voters registration weekend on the 3rd and 4th of February. Unlike previous elections, you will only be able to vote where you are registered. So make your voice heard, ensure you are registered, and participate in the shaping of your future. Don't miss out and save the dates. February the 3rd and 4th, 2024. Let's make a difference together. Your vote, your voice, your city.
Ons is volgende hier by die Transnet Museum, by die ou motors wat hier uitgestal is. Maar oor minder as 2 weke is dit 'n ander storie. Dan begin die ou motorskou en dit is 'n perd van 'n heeltemal ander kleur. By ons, Alewyn Dippenaar, organiseerder van die motorskou. Alewyn, lekker om jou by ons te hê. Vertel vir ons 'n bietjie, waar kom die ou motorskou vandaan? Waar pas dit in die George prentjie in?
Ja, 29 jaar gelede, wat al 'n hele tydjie terug is. Ek moet altyd die 2 COVID jare intel, want verjaar word die ou motorskou vir die 27ste keer aangebied, maar dit was 29 jaar gelede wat Paul Fik hier op sy klein hoewe buitekant Victoria Bay toe bietjie vir sy karvriende gesê het, maar kom ons begin bietjie om die motors daar uit te stal. Want waarvoor die Suid-Kaap ou motorklub staan, is om motors te versamel, motors te restaureer en motors te vertoon. En as deel van die Suid-Kaap ou motorklub het Paul Fik gevoel, maar hulle versamel nou die motors en hulle restaureer die motors, maar hulle stal nie die motors uit nie. En so daai eerste humble beginnings dan begin tot waar ons nou verjaar is. En verjaar praat ons van meer as 1000 voertuie, ou voertuie wat uitgestal word, en dan kom die nuwe voertuie by, etc. Maar vanjaar is die uitstalling 58.000 vierkante meter uitstalling.
Aardeland, Alewyn, en wat kan ons verwag die naweek?
Elke jaar is daar 'n baie spesiale tema wat op gefokus word. En verjaar is dit in besonder dan die Duitse voertuie, wat dan nou die Mercedes'e insluit, wat die Porsche insluit, wat die Volkswagen insluit, wat die BMW's insluit. Maar wat verjaar dan ook baie besonder is die 300 SL Mercedes'e, wat nou verjaar ook 70 jaar oud is. Daar gaan 'n spesiale uitstalling wees ook van die 300 SL Mercedes'e, wat op die oomblik nog in die land beskikbaar is. Maar dan is daar ook 'n wye verskeidenheid. Natuurlik die Model T Ford voertuie sal daar wees, en dan het ons 'n wye versameling van klein modelvoertuie, seker omtrent 5000 klein modelvoertuie wat ook uitgestal word. En dan is daar natuurlik die pragtige uitstalling wat die trekkermanne doen, die motorfietsse en dan ook die stilstaande engines. En Saterdagoggend begin ons dan 8uur as die hekke oopmaak. En gedurende die dag is daar ook wat ons noem die drive-by, waar mense dan met die ou motors verbyry tot daar waar die begin is, waar die toeskouerstente is, om dan spesifiek te luister na die stories van elkeen van hierdie motors wat dan verbykom. En dan is daar ook 'n drive-by van die nuwe voertuie, want al die nuwe voertuie handelaars is dan ook daar wat hulle voertuie uitstal. So ons het 'n bietjie 'n balans tussen voertuie wat hier in die vroeë 1900 vervaardig is, en dat ons voertuie wat nou hier in die laat 20er jare, die moderne voertuie wat vergader is. En natuurlik wanneer mense op die terrein rondstap en dit geniet, is daar 'n veelvoud van motorverwante stalletjies wat enigiets verkoop van 'n nommerplaat tot 'n flikkerlig of olies of karpolletoer. Ons noem dit sogenaamd die motorverwante stalletjies. En dan ook is daar 'n klompie snuffelstalletjies. Iemand wat bietjie wil gaan daar rond snuffel, en moet dan nou nie vergeet nie, ons het ook weer eens reg oor die terrein 'n wye verskeidenheid van voedselstalletjies wat van die lekkerste ete en te drinke aanbied, met 2 biertuine verjaar.
Dit klink nie of dit iets wat so ou moes mis nie, Alewyn. Ure, van wanneer tot wanneer? Wanneer moet ons daar inhardloop?
Die skou begin Saterdagoggend, die internasionale George ou motorskou. Ons onderskei die 2 dae. Saterdag is die primêre dag vir die motors, want ons is bewus daarvan dat Saterdag aand daar motors is wat onttrek, omdat hulle weer Sondag moet terugry na hulle bestemmings toe. So ons is bewus daarvan dat daar nie altyd Sondag dieselfde hoeveelheid motors is nie. So ons noem Saterdag die internasionale ou motorskou en Sondag is meer die George plaaslike familie. Nou Saterdag 8uur maak die hekke oop en dan 6uur Saterdag aand maak dit toe. Sondag maak dit ook weer eens 8uur in die oggend oop en 2uur sluit die hekke. Maar wat vir jaar baie besonder is dat vanaf 11uur Sondag tot en met 2uur het ons 'n internasionale oompa band wat die hele tyd gaan speel. En ek wil glo dat baie min mense het nog in hulle lewe 'n egte oompa band hoor speel. En natuurlik daarmee te saam maak ons 'n bietjie Duitse kos dat ons net 'n bietjie daardie Duitse tema kan versterk.
Alewyn, baie dankie vir al die inligting wat jy oorgedra het en baie voorspoed met julle uitstalling. Mag dit regtig voorspoedig wees.
Baie dankie en ons beveel regtig aan dat mense net op iTickets gaan en vooraf hulle kaartjies koop. Die kaartjie is ook online, is hy R20 goedkoper as by die hek. So gaan sommer op iTicket en kry jou kaartjie daar, dan betaal jy ten minste R20 minder.
Baie dankie Alewyn.
Dankie baie.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning and welcome to CAWNECT, your voice, your city. And my name is Snyman. I'm the Speaker of the George Municipality. And today I've got Mr. Jonkers from the Department of Education with us. And seeing as though we've started a new year, Mr. Jonkers, welcome. And welcome to the office.
Thank you so much and thank you for the invitation. I'm looking forward to have a conversation with you and with your listeners.
I'm going to get straight to the point. Obviously, we don't want to take too much time, and you've got a very busy schedule. So I'm going to ask you just a few questions. We've just finished the 2023 season, and obviously the matric results are out. What are the matric results like compared to other provinces in our region?
Yes, we are very fortunate that as a province, we did very well. Not necessarily in terms of our pass percentage. Yes, we've increased by 0.1%. But in terms of all other measures, in terms of the quality passes, the throughput rate, our province did extremely well. When we come down to the district level, the district also did extremely well. Our district achieved 84.6% pass rate this year for the group of 2023, and that amounts to a second position in the whole of the Western Cape.
Wow.
As a district. The top performing district is Metropole North, and they achieved 85.4%. So if we look at the difference between the first place and the second place, which is us, is 0.8%. So it means that if we just made another percentage, we would have been the first position in the Western Cape. And for a relatively poor, and that's now based on the poverty index of the Western Cape.
If I could just interrupt, I've also noticed that some of the more problematic schools, let me put it that way, the schools where the more indigent members are,
That's right.
those schools are starting to come up now as well. For example, one of the schools that I in George, for example, is Heather Park.
Yes.
Or Heatherlands.
Heatherlands, yeah,
Heatherlands. They're now starting to get students going in with 100% pass rates and stuff like that. So the whole scale of education is going up. Am I correct in saying that?
You're quite right. We've got this motto that together we rise. And that means it's not only about what our top schools are doing. Yes, we are so grateful for 8 schools who achieved 100% pass, and 1 independent school also achieved 100% pass. That's absolutely wonderful. And what's making that achievement more remarkable is the fact that that constitutes 25% of the 100% schools are only coming from Eden and Central Karoo. That is absolutely remarkable. But to come back to the question that you have put is the fact that if our poorer schools, our quintiles 1, 2 and 3 schools are not doing well, it means we can constantly have the 100% schools, but we will not be able to make it. But what we've seen over the past few years is that we have seen that every school has now increased their results. We have seen schools like your Jonga High School, you mentioned Heatherlands High School, your Thembaletus, your Park Deans who achieved 90% pass. And so I can mention a few schools who has currently just done
Excelled, yeah.
so well.
Yeah.
And that for us is important.
Brilliant.
It's not about what one school does.
Yeah.
It's about
Collective.
everybody, the collective. And then we're going to achieve the first
Well,
place in this
let's be
class.
honest. I mean, a society is based on a collective,
Yes.
not an
yes.
individual. So,
Yeah.
just going in line with that, how do we actually help foster a 100% culture in all our schools?
It is important that we first look at leadership in our schools. Leadership is critical. We have to appoint good, excellent principals. Then the next one will be teachers. We need to get qualified and experienced teachers, and we do have those here in our midst. But then it's also important for us to have a culture, an academic culture, positive school culture in every school. So if we only work on matric, it is not going to give us the required result.
Right.
So it means quality, and this 100% quality and thinking starts way back, not only in grade R, even before grade R, but let's just say it starts already at these play schools, play groups, and that's why we also now, as the education department, are responsible for the creches also. So it means it starts way down there, and if we can inculcate that 100% culture from our preschools right through primary schools and to high schools, that is when we're going to make a positive difference in our society.
Great. And before I go into the next sort of phase of the interview, I just need to find out, what are the ideas from the education department? We're sitting with thousands of schools at the moment, and there's a tendency for people to think, well, in all other businesses, you have 24/7, throughout, and yet our schools are only utilized for half a day. Why haven't we started looking at double sessions? In other words, morning classes and evening classes, using the same infrastructure, but for two different sessions. In other words, we could double up the number of students without the need for massive infrastructure growth, if you want to call it, for the lack of a better way of putting it. Is there some thought on that? Just briefly.
Yes, we are working around that also. You would recall that during the lockdown, we minimized our class sizes. And by doing that, it means we had to introduce a system that we call TRIP, where you'll have the morning session and you'll have the afternoon or evening sessions. That worked brilliantly for us. But in terms of the curriculum coverage, that exposure for a morning session only was a little bit too less to cover the full curriculum. So we need those kids to be there for the full duration of the day.
Yeah.
So the way our curriculum is currently structured means that we will need the full day. We are even experimenting, extending the school day even to around about 4 or 5 o'clock, but we are still talking around that. But we need to present our learners with a holistic education. Means in that particular day, you need cultural activities, you need your sporting activities, but you also need the aftercare facility to be part of what's happening at that particular entity in school. So yes, we are looking at different models, and I believe we will make an announcement around that very soon.
Thank you very much. Okay, now the most important thing, school placement.
Okay.
What is the importance of timeous applications to getting your children in schools? Because obviously with the more children needing schooling, it's important to get your applications in on time.
Yeah, we are really motivating our parents and our society to ensure that kids are placed at schools timeously, that applications is done timeously. Because what we see in the past, we in January had these multiple parents coming in, sitting long queues and applying for placement at schools, and then they don't get the best possible placements for their kids.
Yeah.
What's happening now is parents can already, early in the year, during March, apply, and we are really encouraging people to apply. Now we know there are challenges in terms of maybe some parents do not have access to ICT, but in those cases what we have done is every school, regardless of whether you want your school at Timberlake or whether you want your school at Netherlands High School, wherever there is a WCD institution, you can go to that particular institution and apply online at that institution. Not necessarily for your child to be there, but at least to be on the system. So you apply for the schools of your choice. And in this district, I must say there is a huge improvement in terms of parents applying very early. So therefore, if you go to our offices now, you will see there's going to be a few parents who comes as walk-ins. Last week, Friday, I have recorded about only 250 parents coming in who never applied last year.
Only 250.
Only 250. So that means it is really catching up on parents, and they are doing what they're supposed to do because they realize that places are limited.
Yeah.
And if you really want the best for your child, you have to apply early, and they are doing it.
Well, you've basically answered my second question about how does placement work. So my last question is, if my child is not in a school yet, and bearing in mind we're in the second week of the school basically, what do? How do I get my child in a school now?
Okay, they're welcome to first of all go to the school of their choice and apply at the school, or they can also come to our offices and apply at our offices. We will not be able to guarantee every parent at this stage a school of choice, but we will be able to say you do have a school. We will have a school available. It might not be your choice, but I can guarantee you we will place your child in a school. If, worst case scenarios, we cannot put your child in a proper classroom, we will have spaces where these learners will be taught, but no child will be left out or left behind.
That's important. That's very important, and I think that is something for everyone to take heed of in this interview, is that you do not have to let your child stay behind.
No.
And that is a choice. If it is, then it's the parents' fault and not the child's fault,
Yes.
and not the government's fault. So that is the message that I'd like to leave this with today, is that education is a compulsory means of going forward. And every parent has a responsibility to his child to make sure that he has the best education possible.
Yes.
And by getting in early and making sure that your applications are done early, you're guaranteeing that you're getting the chance to go to the best school in your area.
Correct.
Mr. Jonker, thank you very much for your time. It's been very interesting, and I believe we've got a lot of challenges in 2024. But good luck to that.
Thank you.
And well done with the hard work. It's paying off, and I think the Western Cape is leading in a lot of ways.
Definitely.
And we hope to talk to you next year.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very
Just
much.
from my side also, thank you for the opportunity to have this interview. And I just want to thank all the role players. The results that we are attaining year in and year out is not only about what we do as the Department of Education, but this is a collaborative approach. It's a society, our schools, churches, business, the municipalities, everybody. And for that, we are entirely grateful. And we are now aiming to get that first position in the Western Cape. And I believe with the help of everybody, we can only take this district and the Western Cape back to the #1 position where we belong.
It brings it back to that old adage, it takes a community to raise a child.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you very
absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And from my side, thank you very much. Thank you for joining CAWNECT. We'll see you again next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wil jy 'n eiendom koop? Moenie dat jou droomhuis vir jou 'n nagmerrie word nie. Ons doen 'n deeglike inspeksie van die huis en voorsien jou van 'n gedetailleerde verslag. Moenie later lank traan huil nie. Tree nou op. Skakel House Report Pro by 082 872 8664. Ja, niks is meer werd as gemoedsrus nie. Dit is House Report Pro by 082 872 8664.